Hello guys, once again welcome to Farming in Africa. I am here seated in the middle of the farm because today I want to talk to you guys about something that's very important that most of you have brought to my attention and I need to address it. Most of you guys are new to farming and want to go into poultry farming and are asking yourself, what size of land do I need to start a poultry farm? Or, how much land should I buy if I want to go into poultry farm? And today I want to basically share my opinion, recommendation, and experience from, as you guys can see, having 10,000 capacity of birds with deep litter, not battery cage. That means that I did consume a bit of land and I also put a lot into infrastructure. And therefore, I think I've gathered enough experience to be able to share with you guys. And that is why today I am bringing you guys this episode. So before we go into that, I want to clear it that if you're very new to poultry farming and you're going new and starting afresh, I would even ask you to think about the land first. I will ask you to just get a small chicken pen, either made with wood, metal, at your backyard, at an old building structure, whatever that you have, and start with as small as you can. Learn, buy yourself one feeder, buy yourself, one drinker, hang it in there. Test the different stages of poultry farming, from day-old chicks brooding process to 1 week till 16 weeks till 1 month, and then to your 16 weeks when they start laying, if they are layers. Gain that experience before you even decide to go and buy a land purposely for poultry farming, because poultry farming is not for everybody. It is very risky. It is also very time consuming and it needs your commitment. And if you don't know this, you might go and buy a land, start building and end up not enjoying the business. So my first recommendation is start small, test it at your backyard without investing much money into it. And after that, if you really think that this is what you want to do, then now let's go to today's topic and talk about what size of land that you need. So this is the way that I approach it, right? Land, I always say, and I've been saying this for the past 2 years, that God is not going to create any more lands. So whatever we have is what we are going to own and pass over to the next generation. So if you have the capital, always buy land and buy as big as you can or as big as is available for you, right? So I'm not going to put a limit on how much land you should buy, but depending on your budget and all the costs that I've given to you by raising chicken, you need to know how much you want to dedicate towards land. But if you have the funds and you have money to buy land, buy it, because your vision is going to grow and you're going to think about doing different things as well, right? So now let's talk about the size purposely for the pen that you're going to build it. So once again, depends on the number of birds that you want to start with, but mostly when it comes to poultry and you've made up your mind to actually start it, I would advise to always go for your birds in thousands. If you're testing, do your 20s, 100s. But if you really want to go, I wouldn't recommend doing 200, doing 500, because don't forget guys, when I started my first poultry farm, I started with 200, then I did 300, then I went to 1,000. And this is why I think if you're ready to really do it, start with 1,000. You're starting with 1,000 because a lot of the poultry vaccinations comes for 1,000, right? And it's either you buy the 1,000 one, which then you're going to have half or more than half wasted, or you go and you ask them, oh, give me a bit of it. And most of the vaccinations, once it's open, that's it. You cannot use it again. Some, vets and stores, because they just want their money, they will try to keep it in a frozen thing and give it to you, but it's not going to be effective. So you end up even losing your birds just because you didn't buy the quantity, or they have opened it and be selling it to you. All that is mistake that I have made, and I don't think you guys deserve to repeat it. And therefore, if you're ready to do poultry, then buy them in thousands. So if you're buying them in thousands, like I buy it now, then what is the size of your pen gonna be for 1,000 birds? Over some years ago, I was building 40 feet by 50 feet. But I've realized that the appropriate size is 50 by 50. So if you look at the first pen that I have here, it was actually 40 by 50. The second one behind me is actually 50 by 50 feet. What does that mean? That means that the size of your chicken pen is going to be 50 feet, you know, height, and 50 feet beneath it, right? And you're going to have that square. If that happened, what that means is that a plot of land in Ghana here is mostly by 70 by 100, somewhere 80 by 100, right? So if you're buying a land and you say you're buying 1 acre, that means you have 4 plots of land in there, right? So that means if it's 100 feet by 80, that means that if you're buying 4, then you have 400 feet. I don't know if the math makes sense, but a plot in Ghana is basically 80 by 100 feet, and your chicken pen is going to be 50 by 50. So if you have one plot of land, that means that what you're doing is you're building 50 feet by 50 feet. That means that you're going to use 50 out of the 80 feet but on your left hand side, which is going to be left with what? 30 feet remaining. And then if you use another 50 feet out of the 100, then you're going to remain with another 50 feet. What that means is that on one plot, you can't actually build 2 chicken pen. You can get 50 by 50, but then the remaining is going to be 30 by 50, which is not enough unless you're thinking about ordering another 500, or you're thinking about using that place as a brooding space, or maybe even using it for something else, maybe as your storage, right? So that's what one plot is going to get you if you're doing 1,000 birds. If you have 2 plots, then now you're thinking about having 3 pen and probably being able to have 3,000 birds, right? So this is the calculation that I use and can recommend to you when you're buying your pen. Some will say, you know what, because the size of the land I'm buying is actually 80 by 100 and I want to fit 2 pen on it, then I will build my pen 40 by 50. Which makes sense. You can utilize your land. Just from my experience, my birds get very big, and therefore I want to give them room to be able to play around and not be so, congested in the pen to prevent heat as well, right? And that's why I do 50 by 50. But if your land, as I said, is 80 by 100 and you really want to maximize it, then you can do it 40 by 50 and maximize it and have 2 pen, which then your capacity is going to be 2,000 birds for that specific land, right? So in case you're thinking about buying a land, I think the first question is, what capacity of birds do you want to start with? And then what is the size of a land, of one plot of land? Then you can decide to use it. If you have a big land and you're like, oh yeah, I have a big land, then now you need to look at what part of the land you want to use to grow corn, because you know that food is going to eat all your money in poultry farm. So the best thing you can do before you even start poultry farming is to grow your own corn, or to buy the corn when it's in the season and store it for when they're ready to feed on corn, right? And so if you have a bigger land, then again you need to do this math to be able to dedicate a portion of that land for your construction, with in mind 40 feet by 50 feet or 50 feet by 50 feet, and then the rest you can decide whether to grow corn, soya beans, or whatever that you think is going to help you, reduce costs, because I think that's the major challenges that we have at the moment. So that is what I have for you guys from what I did and my opinion. Feel free to do some more research on that. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions or what you think about that. But so far, that is what I've done, and that is what has been working for me. Thank you guys so much for making the time to listen to me, and I hope this information was useful. If it was, please hit the like button and also comment and let me know what you guys think or what we can do better. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.